Let's just take a look at the stock market's performance yesterday, falling back, perhaps some profit taking after 2 days of rallies. What do you make of this negative close for the NSE yesterday?
Okay, thank you, Samantha. I think it's essentially profit taking by investors that benefited from the short 4 or 5 day rally that we had seen previously. So it's really nothing much to worry about.
In terms of news flow, we have some increased speculation that Vodafone might be eyeing out Starcoms. Has this been verified from your side? Perhaps a good move for both companies that are both still to date unprofitable.
There is no formal announcement yet of a deal, so it's not yet in the public space. However, what the market expects or what the market thinks will happen will be that there will be a deal between Starcoms and Vodafone, and they think it will be good for the industry as a whole. You recall that the previous management of Starcoms had actually advocated for mergers and acquisitions in the industry, and we saw Vodafone trying to acquire multi-link telecoms a while back, which fell through. So I think it would be a good one.
Is this Vodafone trying to reverse this through a takeover of Starcoms?
Well, we don't know for fact whether that's what's going to happen, but what we think is in the offing from market hearsay is that there's likely going to be a deal between the two of them. Starcoms had been in the market long enough. It has brand equity, even though it's not been profitable for a while now. Vodafone just joined the market a few years back, and they've assumed market leadership through innovative products and advertisements. So we think that, Vodafone right now has the upper hand if such a transaction were to occur.
If that transaction went ahead, you would have, of course, a key player in the CDM space, but still going forward, this sector has dwindling fortunes against the likes of GSM players. Would you be investing in a Starcoms given the technology is becoming more and more outdated?
Well, that's been the talk on the streets, that the CDMA technology might be a bit outdated, but we still think, talking to the major players in the industry, they still think there's room for usage of the CDMA, especially in the data segment of the industry. It's also been proven, at least it's been touted as a cheaper option to the GSM option for Nigerian utilizers of the telephone industry. So we think that they may still be able to penetrate into the market using a low-cost base and actually make some headway if the strategy is right.
There have been increasing calls for more telecommunications companies to list on the NSE. Why do you think to date we've had so little representation from the sector?
The sector, especially from the GSM space, has been very profitable. We've seen a company like Airtel today change hands about 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years. That shows that investors still think that sector is profitable. We have a very huge population in Nigeria, so we think there are immense opportunities for investors in the sector. Having said that, because there is no compulsion on the participants in the industry to actually list, they may not want to list. They have access to finance. Most of the larger GSM companies are able to raise funds locally and internationally, so there's no incentive for them to list. I think it will be more of a goodwill gesture if they decide to list. But the government, if the government can come in and maybe pass the regulation or at least encourage them to list, then it's going to be beneficial to the capital market. Let's
turn our attention to the Naira then. The currency weakening to a new record low against the dollar yesterday. That's on the interbank market. It hit 164.85. They're increasing jitters, especially from foreigners surrounding the currency. Have you had any calls from your foreign investors looking at what's taking place and how the CBN is managing the currency?
Yeah, there's been increased concern about the Nigerian currency, the Naira. It traded as low as 164.15 yesterday. And obviously right now the central bank is not firmly adhering to its 3% upper limits on 150 Naira. The central bank governor alluded to this midweek, that he's not going to defend the currency at all costs. Yes, foreign investors are a bit jittery. They really want to know what's going to happen to the Naira. They participated in a large conference yesterday organized by Standard Bank, and they actually asked a lot of questions with regards to the fate of the Naira.
Could this have a knock-on effect to the stock exchange?
It may ultimately, because investors will be concerned about the returns they're going to get on the stock exchange vis-a-vis the devaluation of the currency. If the currency is devalued, I mean, by a very, very wide margin, then it will wipe off whatever gain they may get on the Nigerian stock exchange. So they are concerned about that, and they have their eyes focused on where the currency will eventually stabilize.